hearing board.
All right. 5:59, all of our public are here.
It was just from the township for them. Just.
Jess is on Zoom.
Okay. For sure. Well, she's working on Zoom. Right?
Yeah. Yep. I think we're ready. Okay, I'm going to call the meeting to order for January this reorganization. Please stand for the pledge and a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please remain standing. And as you do so, just keep in mind our first responders and all of our public works team that are out there doing the work of amazing people. They're terrific folks. Thank you. May they all be safe. Okay. So this is our reorganization meeting. This meeting is being live streamed on Zoom. And it will be uploaded to the township YouTube channel at a later date. The Zoom public will be given an opportunity to speak on agenda items where there will be a vote, and people in the room will be given that first opportunity. The main thing that I do here tonight is I start the meeting, and the intention is for us to open the floor for nominations for chair. So I'm going to go ahead and open the floor for nominations for chair, and by doing so, I'd like to start by nominating the picks for chair.
I'll second the nomination.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations for chair?
I'd like to nominate John Herzog.
I second that nomination.
Okay, thank you, Barbara. Okay. There are two nominations on the floor. Is there anything else? Anybody else nominated? Okay, we'll close the nominations. We're going to go ahead and start with, in the order that they were nominated. So we'll start with the nomination of Pete Hicks. So those in favor, please vote aye. Aye.
I vote aye. I appreciate the nomination, but I'll defer.
Okay, thank you, John. And Barbara or Cody? Okay, so there are 3 ayes for Pete Hicks, and the ayes have it. Cody and Barbara, for the record, have, I guess, abstained.
Well, you didn't give us the opportunity to say nay.
Oh,
Yeah, okay, yeah, nay. Yeah, nay.
Nay?
Yeah,
Okay,
not a-
nay for Barbara and Cody.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, so Pete, this is where you get to take over. So I'm gonna switch seats with you, and we'll allow you to take it from here.
Comes with the pay raise, Pete.
Yeah, you get a big pay raise.
Yeah.
Sit next to me. Pete Rings.
All right.
Nominations for vice chair.
So that's what.
Nominations for vice chair.
Do we have nominations for vice chair?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to nominate Barbara Emery for vice chair. A second? You second yourself.
A second.
And I'd like to nominate Michelle for vice chair.
A second?
I'll second myself. Thank you.
We'll vote.
All right, call a vote.
There's 2 on the table, so the first one would be for Barbara. I would do an up and down vote on both. Just a suggestion.
Would you do that?
So all in favor of Barbara Emery for vice chair.
Aye.
Aye.
Against,
Nay?
Nay.
that motion fails. So the next motion would be for
Michelle Schroeder.
Michelle Schroeder, yes.
Vote.
Aye.
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 You
Nay.
voted.
Into- Nay. Motion carries 3-2.
Thank you. And we'll do the shuffle again. Solicitors. Sorry.
So the next would be appointment representatives to the Westchester Area Council of Governments.
Do police commissioner for pension?
First, police commissioner,
Yeah, police commissioner.
police commissioner first.
Oh, sorry. Appoint police commissioner.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to nominate Cody Bright for that position. For police
Second
commissioner.
nomination. Any other nominations?
Any other nominations for Cody? I second for. You do a good job at it.
Okay, so do we call vote on that one as well there?
Call vote on that.
Okay, aye,
Aye.
Aye.
thank you.
All right. And then we need to appoint a representative to the pension committee.
1 second, we find out.
Yeah, go ahead.
I am the current representative to the pension committee. We do have a meeting tomorrow at 10 o'clock, so whoever's going to please start that meeting.
All right, we're still on here. Mr. Chairman, I appoint, like to make a motion, we appoint Michelle Stewart back to the pension committee.
I second that.
All good? Aye.
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 Aye. All right. The next is appoint representative to the Westchester Area Council of Governments.
That is currently my position as well, so if anybody wants that, they're welcome to pick that over if they wish, to meet every other month, the third Thursday of the month. Or I would be happy to serve in that capacity, so whatever you all choose.
I nominate Michelle.
I'll second
You
you.
can second that, Cody?
Are you sure you want to second that?
And we'll call a vote.
Aye.
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 All right.
And Barbara didn't.
Barbara?
Aye. Sorry about that.
Good.
Yep, let's do.
And then we need to appoint township officials.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to, if it would please the board, make a consent agenda motion to capture F1 through 13 by appointing the township officials as they are stated on the agenda. This also includes our township solicitors, Landmacher Lane, and our township engineers, Panoni Associates. Also in capture G1 through 3, which is the depositories for township funds, and it authorizes our director to make investments at banks paying the best rate of interest with the best terms, as well as H, certifying our delegates to the PSATS convention, H1 through 3, which captures the supervisors, manager, director of finance, and our voting delegates.
Okay, I'll second that.
You guys want to take a minute to go through that, or?
I have one question for Dave. I see TD Bank here under G, number 2.
Yes.
Sorry, I thought I had it on. Under G2, we have TD Bank. I
Yes.
know they moved. Do we still do business with them?
Yes, not the, not TD Ameritrust, that's switched to Schwab. So all of our pension accounts are with Charles Schwab now, but TD Bank we do with just the escrow funds.
Okay, and it doesn't bother you that they're not local here?
They have one right by Wawa on Market.
Oh, in Westchester?
Yep.
Okay, fine. No other questions?
All right.
So we'll have to call the question then, if there are no other.
Do we have a vote?
Was there a motion? and a
Is there a
second?
motion?
There was a motion and
Yeah.
a second. John seconded the
okay.
motion. Is there any I guess if there's any discussion, I don't have any other questions or clarifications.
Does anybody else have any other questions over the list of what we went through, right? I was happy with that.
Okay.
Call vote then. We call vote?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous?
Should be I confirm 2025 holiday schedule.
All right. Under I, confirm holiday schedule for 2025.
Mr. Chairman, just one comment on this.
Christmas this year, the board was nice enough to give off the day before Christmas and the day after Christmas, with it being on a Wednesday. Christmas is now on a Thursday, so I just suggest and would make a motion to add Friday to the holiday schedule.
I would like to, is that a motion? Was that a motion?
Yeah, I made a motion, she seconded it.
I would like to make, a friendly amendment to allow for Good Friday to be utilized instead of on Good Friday for the day after Christmas. I am not in favor of giving the day after Christmas at this time. I'd rather it be something we discuss later in the year. Or, switch Good Friday to the day after Christmas if 75% or more of the employees would allow it. That's the amendment that I'd like to make.
Friendly, question
Friendly
about a
amendment.
friendly
Mhm.
amendment, I would ask if people wanted to, could they choose? Would it work in the township to let them choose which holiday?
I think that we have to ask Derek that question.
Sorry. So I don't really, I prefer not to, because then you're getting into like what kind of staffing we have for one day versus the other, and it gets a little dicey. That's just my administrative input.
Well, that was worth asking.
No, I
Give
appreciate
people
that.
choice and.
Good question. Would you prefer a day other than Good Friday?
He was worried about the staffing, everyone taking like Good Friday, moving it, or everyone taking.
Yeah, I
not
just,
the
I
other
don't,
day.
I don't
Yeah.
know what the balance is gonna be
Yeah.
there, and I'd rather not give people a choice, that's all. So, I mean, there's an up and down motion on the table, or, I know Michelle made a suggestion, I don't know. There would have to be a withdrawal of that motion before discussing that, but that's,
I second, the friendly amendment,
Okay.
switching Good Friday, to Christmas if the majority of the employees stay there.
I'm in favor of leaving it on the schedule as is. I think there's enough vacation and sick days combined for township employees to use the day off they want.
That's a good
Most,
point.
everyone else is out working the day after Christmas, almost everyone. So, and like I said, they have plenty of vacation and sick days to use if they'd like.
thanks, Mr. Chairman. Derek, based off of us being closed the day after Christmas this year, how many calls did we receive on the township? I had this conversation with, I think there was either one or none, I forget the exact number, it was extremely low.
If we had had the day off, Friday also, we would have had this building closed and dark for 5.5 days. I don't find that acceptable. That might be good for the employees, but that's not good for the citizens of East Goshen. Whether they called up or not, I don't care.
John, we're not talking about like what this year's, next year would just be an extra day, so.
It shouldn't be an extra day,
Okay.
Cody. You might not realize it, but the average employee here has 40 days off. They'll have 13 holidays. The average person has 3 weeks of vacation, that's 15 days. They have 9 sick days for which they don't have to bring in a note, and they have 3 paid time off days. That's 40 days, which 5 days a week equates to 8 weeks, almost 2 months off out of 12 months. I can't see giving them more time than that.
So you gave them 2.5 days this year, right? It was fine this year, but it's not okay next year is what you're saying.
I didn't give them 2.5.
You voted
days
yes.
This year. We voted for 1.5 days, and that was too many as far as I was concerned.
1.5 on top of Christmas.
It was a compromise.
It was 2.5 days still.
Christmas was a set holiday. We gave them an extra day and a half off, which made it 14.5. And because the building was closed for election day, they had 15.5 holidays. The federal government only gives 11. The county, yes, they give 13, but I think that's excessive. They have 40 days that they can take off. And I've asked Dave Ware to come in at the next meeting and not only outline those 40 days, but how many days can people bank and collect for when they retire? I want to know that too.
Yeah, thanks, John. We did talk about that. I'll have that at the next meeting.
I appreciate it, Dave.
Yeah, no problem. And
Anyway, I'm
just-
against the 14th holiday.
Just so everybody knows, like today, we were technically closed two finance people plus myself work.
I
Because
appreciate that,
that's-
thank you.
We don't have time not to do it. So we're working to get year-end close, quarter-end close, financial audit set up, liquid fuels audit set up. So whether this is closed or not, we're gonna be working.
I appreciate the finance department, but the rest of the building was empty. I came over. Were those people paid for the day?
Folks, when there's a closure, yes.
Okay, that's a cost. Anywhere I've worked, days paid but not worked is a cost to the business. Is it a cost to the township?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so you count for that as a cost. Anything that's a cost to the township is a cost to the taxpayers. So again, I'm against a 14th holiday. I think at 40 days, I think people have more than enough.
So it seems like it was 2, 2, and 1, if I heard correctly, because I don't think Peter was in favor of doing anything with the schedule.
Keep it as is.
Yeah, so
As
there's,
we have now that there's.
so I don't think anything's gonna carry is my point.
I can withdraw my amendment. And we could vote on the holiday schedule as Cody proposed with the day after, Christmas. And we can see where that goes.
Is that what motion?
The motion was to change the holiday schedule to include the day after Christmas.
That's
Say all in favor.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nay.
nay,
Nay.
4-1 against.
Thank you, John, for reading that. All right.
So Derek, we're going to have to still look at the holiday schedule. Is this something that we can put on the agenda for January 21st
For what specifically?
to confirm the holiday schedule? Do we have to vote? for
It's
this?
confirmed.
It is confirmed.
Yeah, this is it.
Voting.
Yeah, you
That's
just,
the schedule.
yeah, that's the schedule. Unless you guys change it in the future, that's the
This
schedule.
So
This is it.
Yeah, yeah,
With no additional,
correct.
thank you, okay.
Yep. So, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So confirming 2025 meeting schedule, after talking with some board members, and I have a memo in here outlining the proposal here, but we did have an excessive amount of what I would consider short meetings last year. And there was some meetings that we had to reschedule for different reasons. So particularly the last couple of years, there was some inconsistency in the way the meetings ran, particularly the two a month. So it was, the proposal in the memo is to meet without fail the third Tuesday of each month. So that would be January 21st, and then the third Tuesday thereafter. And then at that meeting, I would have on the agenda a standing item to basically say, is there things we need to meet for in order to meet for the first Tuesday of the month? And we can handle it as we go and be as transparent as possible, but also give ourselves flexibility if we think it's going to be a 20-minute meeting, 30-minute meeting the following month. Obviously, some things have to take precedence with legal time frame, land developments, conditional uses, things of that nature that we can't get out of. So we're going to probably have to meet at some points on the first Tuesday, but this just gives us the flexibility, but to do it in a transparent way. But note the advertisement schedule. East Goshen for the longest time has advertised every Tuesday as a possible board meeting date. And in the past, they've utilized that quite a bit. And, if you're going back years and years. So just a note to the residents listening and who are going to listen later. Every Tuesday is advertised as a Board of Supervisor meeting, even though we're saying it's without fail third Tuesday of the month. There's possibilities exist that we could meet on certain Tuesdays. So always look at your calendar, look at the updates, because it's with municipal government, it can be fluid. So that is the proposal on the table and the little caveat for 2025, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we confirm the 2025 meeting schedule as set.
Second.
You have a second?
Barbara had a second.
Sorry,
You have a
public,
vote? Any public comment?
yes. Doesn't look like it.
That doesn't, all right, doesn't look like there's any public comment. Then you have a vote?
Okay, aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Next, confirm that the Keystone Collection Agency is the earned income and local services tax collector for the township.
Joint, motion on these.
Well, I have a couple questions about Keystone.
Mhm.
Steve,
Yes, ma'am.
are we getting charged now by Keystone Collection for their tax collection? I know we had talked about,
We always
It's
have.
it's the tax committee, yeah, Chester County Tax Committee.
Yeah, we're part of the joint Chester County Advisory Tax Committee, of which I'm a part, and Nina, a second is the subsidiary member. But I think they've done a very good job. We've had some issues this year, which I brought directly to Keystone on behalf of various residents. Those issues have been addressed and rectified to resident satisfaction, as far as I know, because I've had back and forth with them. And that's, part of record keeping and account collections, things like that. But also, their rate was reduced at a meeting a year ago. So it is stepping down. So we're paying less and less, and we are actually, what they're collecting has been increasing. So,
okay,
But
I wanted to make sure of that.
just to be clear too, just for the public benefit, this is earned income tax, and a law was passed about 15 years ago, basically consolidating earned income tax into the counties, which is a taxing district is what they call it. So unlike the real estate tax arm, we don't have as much flexibility in who we go after for income tax. I just want to put that out there for the record.
Thanks, sir.
Okay. Then I will make a motion, Mr. Chairman, if I may, to confirm Keystone Collection Agency as our earned income and local services tax collector for the township.
Second motion.
Right, the vote,
Public comment.
public comment? No one on Zoom? Then call vote.
All right, aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right.
I move we appoint Maley LLP as independent auditors for the township.
Is there
I second that.
any public comment on that? Doesn't look like there is one. Call vote.
Aye.
Aye. And designate the emergency services provider, resolution 2025-02.
This is something we pass every year for boundaries of ambulance services, fire services. Boundaries have not changed since I've been around and long before that.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, then I would like to make a resolution, motion to adopt resolution 2025-02, which is our emergency service providers resolution. With all of the specifics outlined in the resolution. Noted that they have not changed in the past couple of years.
Do you have a second?
Second,
Is there any public comment?
I just, so I'm clear, Derek, we had Goshen Fire, Malvern Fire, and Good Fellowship, is that it?
And yes, yeah, now part of, yeah, that's
Those
correct.
three, okay, thank you, I'm good.
All right, then we'll call vote.
Aye.
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 You?
All right. Next is authorize participation in the Delaware Valley Workers' Compensation Trust. DDWCT.
Skip one.
Established
Oh,
2025.
You can skip it, you're the chairman, you can skip it around if you want.
Establish the 2025 fee schedule, resolution 2025-3.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There were some minor changes this year. Last year, there were more changes, actually.
Mhm.
I guess more notably, the fire alarm fees, false fire alarm fees are actually gonna be done on a calendar year basis, which is a lot. I mean, it was a rolling basis to keep track of each place as far as how they were, if they accumulated false fire alarms, and it became a nightmare to keep track of. And they're doing it on a calendar year and then having everybody reset January 1st. We think it's gonna be
He's gonna accumulate cost.
yeah, it's good. Well, it's gonna be a little easier to track too, as
Sure.
you kind of reset on
Right.
that. So that's one thing. There's also the building use fee that I put in there to go with the resolution later on. But if we don't pass that resolution, that becomes null and void anyway, really. And then,
Do you want me to run down the other one?
Or is that building?
Yeah, that's fine.
Sure.
Oh, on the, where is it on the fee schedule?
under miscellaneous fees,
It's under miscellaneous fees on the
Yeah.
fee schedule? Miscellaneous fees. Okay, here it is.
What page is it? The pages aren't numbered. Here we go. It's here. It's like this. It's here, that's right. Okay. All right,
Okay, so I wanted to ask a little bit about this. So I wanted to ask if, so the problem that we're having is that the building is being used all of the time on the weekends at this point.
all the time.
the
And
time.
well, and it's, one group's been pretty excessive about it,
Right.
but in general, even before that, since I've come to East Goshen, I felt that the building was overused.
And it's not limited to East Goshen.
all right, just
Yeah.
for people who are trying to follow along, we're skipping to number 6.
I mean, we're still under the, I mean, we could have the discussion now and still have it under the fees because it's part of the fee
All right,
schedule,
well-
but
Okay,
we don't have to.
That's
have-
has to be addressed under the fee schedule.
Yeah, so.
Well, So what you're suggesting is that
It's
there's,
also there in a memo.
yeah, it's in a memo and you're suggesting
Well, it's in a-
$100 fee for 6 hours of usage. This is for nonprofit?
So no,
Or for profit rather.
so the fee
Organizations.
itself was for, and by the way, let me just back up a little bit. There was nothing written. So I'm not going off of anything. I mean, I tried to do some best practices and ask some colleagues and what they can come up with. So I did draw upon some other places. But there was nothing established at East Goshen giving us guidance on this issue. So I'm not married to anything. That's why I kind of said that. But yeah, the fee schedule was $100 for the use for profit companies up to 6 hours. And I think additional 75 if they go another 3 hours. I maxed out at 9. Nobody ever really uses it that long. But I felt that it was necessary to give a little bit extra for more time. And then the bigger thing in the resolution later on will be limitation of places, whether they're nonprofit or for-profit or whatever they are, once a month, unless they're affiliated with us, that's a different story. And then also no rental on Saturdays, because people mess something up and nobody's here on a Sunday. It takes 48 hours to catch it rather than 12 hours or whatever it may be. So those two things, and I did talk briefly, Michelle, about this, those two things I put in their language to say, unless township manager discretion, particularly not as far as who's renting it, but more as far as the Saturdays and the once per month, mainly to, accommodate unforeseen things that, we have the 250th birthday coming up, maybe organizations have to use it a little bit more on those. So, more or less to use in a sporadic way, but
where
there's
is
some,
that specified?
I gotta check in the resolution 04.
Here's my concern, this puts you in a position where you can exercise discretion. If a group feels that you've exercised discretion to their disadvantage, they have a right to sue and sue you hard. I don't want to see you in that position.
And that's fine if you want to not give me discretion. Again, the two things that were more discretion was not who was renting it, but more as when. So like the amount of times per month, and then also the Saturday deal. So I don't have a problem not having that discretion, but my fear is that organizations you're more familiar with may want to use it once or it's more of the sporadic, for instance, I know the League of Women Voters have used it on a Saturday. That's one thing that came to mind when I was writing this. So the discretion was really for not just for a specific group, but for things that come about here and there, not necessarily, oh, I want to say no to them because they're this type of
Well,
group or
if
that.
you say no to the League of Women Voters, and it's yes to somebody else, you know darn well that there's gonna be an uproar.
Well,
Well, I would, but I guess my point is, I wouldn't say no to the League of Women Voters because it's a once in a while thing
But
versus somebody. So my thing is trying to rent it out 5 times in 1 month is excessive. And I don't think we have the capacity for that. So,
Okay, well,
um,
if you wanna take that risk, I can go along with it.
I'm fine with it. I think I would utilize it in the correct manner that I'm aiming for here, whether it's, everybody reads it that way or not. But-
Right.
I defended so many EEO cases where he said I would use it, and I have used it in the right manner, and then we lost.
No, I know it
I'm not
happens.
kidding.
I'm not disputing that. people
Okay,
sue
well, if
everything.
you want it that way, I can live with it.
I'm okay with the way it's worded. I don't have any issue with the way it's worded, and I think that it does allow you some discretion to be able to allow some of the nonprofits that we do have an ongoing relationship with to come in on that odd Saturday that you're referring to.
Just so the board knows, we spend thousands of dollars to clean these carpets all the time because there are no signs, there's nothing saying that you can't have something to drink, you can't bring something to eat. And if they're nonprofits, it's one thing, if they're local, that's one thing because they're already paying taxes. If they're from out of town and they're a for-profit agency, that may be a different concern.
That's a good point.
We do have a no food rule that we disclose. I know it's not up here, but we do tell them that.
Do we have a cleaning fee for profits?
That's what I want.
No,
So-
We
And
should add
that's
a
something
cleaning fee
that I think we need to-
for profit groups.
Yes, that I
That
agree with that.
If they leave it, if it's left in an unacceptable way, or there's food or drinks village and we need to clean.
I don't necessarily know if I would limit that to no, for-profit groups though, because anybody can leave it trashed.
That's true.
So just say that if the room is not left the way that it was found, that we have the right for a cleaning. fee?
So there's language in there that doesn't specify the specific fee, but it says you would be responsible for the specific amount that is required to clean the upstairs. And then as the application point, eventually when Kate gets it, we would disclose that specific fee.
Perfect. I'm good with that.
Where's that language?
I'd have to look.
So we're just gonna put a standard cleaning fee in for everyone then?
Yeah, but
That'd be
but I
best.
didn't want to cite the fee here because I don't want to have to keep redoing the resolution.
Right.
So what I put in there is,
Reason.
a second here.
sounds like the only if it's this charge the.
Yes, yes.
Okay, friendly amendment, that paragraph, at the very end, it may be necessary to implement the proposed, thinking and purpose of the act.
Yes. But yes, that's correct.
Okay, with that, I'll move that we pass this.
So we're just passing the fee schedule now. We were talking about the resolution, but the resolution is not till later
We
on.
talked about both of them, why don't we do both of
You
them
can
at
do it.
once?
You can do that.
Can we do that?
If you want
If you want to announce, we were talking specifically just for the public benefit about resolution 2025-04, which is the building use resolution that goes with the fee that we were discussing.
Yeah, it was only one of them. Yeah, we were talking about the fee schedule. So is everyone
I don't have any issues with any of the fee
with
schedule.
the fee schedule? Anyone else have any questions on the fee schedule? Anyone? Anyone on Zoom have a question about the fee schedule? I don't think anyone has any more questions then. There's a motion.
Call the vote. Do we have a motion?
The motion, can we be clear about what the motion is?
Yeah, the motion was,
Motion was to pass the fee schedule 2025-03 in conjunction with 2025-04, which was the building use resolution.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
all right, we have a motion for that.
We did have a motion for that.
Call that to the vote.
Aye.
Aye. Nays?
Any nays? Great, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's fine. Five ayes.
Yep. All right, that was the establishment fees.
Yep.
And then we are down to
Oh, authorization participation in Delaware Valley. Yep.
all right, the authorization for participation in the Delaware Valley Workers' Compensation Trust. The DVWCT.
We just need a motion to make
Yeah.
that authorization.
Yes.
I would move that you authorize the participation in the Delaware Valley Workers' Compensation Trust.
Second motion.
Call vote.
Aye.
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 Great.
All right. Announce the continuance of all other applicable resolutions that were adopted previously.
Yep, that's it, no vote.
Says announce, is that the motion or is
Nope,
that?
no, we're just, yeah, we're just,
Everybody okay?
yep, we're just announcing.
Okay, I'm okay with it.
All right.
So that ends the reorganizational activities, Mr.
Right.
Chairman.
Thank you.
Okay.
So we can keep going with the regular meeting, or you can take a recess.
No, we're going to do that next. That's part of the business meeting. Do you want to take a break or do you want to?
No, let's continue this so everyone can get home for turns to black ice.
Thank you.
All right, Cameron's report. The township building will be closed on Monday, January 20th, in recognition of Martin Luther King Jr.'s Day. And the next business meeting is January 21st, correct? Terry?
Yep, January 21st. That's.
All right. And there are no police or EMS reports tonight for Goshen. Goshen, Malvern, or Good Fellowship. There is no financial report and there are no approval of minutes either. President report, no public hearings. There's no old business, new business. Consider ABC appointments.
So just a note, to everybody, we did get word that, a couple hours ago, the chair of ESAC, Anthony Natali, will be resigning. So that, I got that too late, so I couldn't have it on here, but that'll be at January 21st, in order to accept the resignation. But other than that, everything on here is accurate. Also a note, Jackie Alborn for Conservancy is a new member. Her resume was given to the Board of Supervisors in the packet and via email. And the Conservancy is aware of her interest.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we reappoint all of the ABC members who are up for reappointment and appoint new members as specified, specifically, I think with Jackie. Because
Second
Someone,
motion.
Just had somebody come in.
did someone come, no one on Zoom then? So we have a second,
um,
then call vote.
aye.
Aye.
Aye. All in favor?
So next was board liaisons, Mr. Chairman. I made it to the best of my knowledge as far as what I thought was going on with the liaisons based on individual board feedback. So if there's any discrepancies, I'd be happy to change it in the voice vote tonight and change it going forward, but I think I was accurate.
I believe it was accurate. Anyone else have any considerations or changes? Everyone's happy with that?
Do we need to make a motion on this?
Yeah, I would make a motion, yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we appoint the board liaisons for our ABCs as specified in the agenda. You know, I'll enumerate them. Under police, that would be Cody Bright as our police commissioner. I will be representative to COG and Conservancy. Pete, you will be representative to Park and Rec. ESAC will be with Barbara. Planning Commission will remain with John. Pipeline will be Barbara. Municipal Authority will be Cody, and Pension will be myself, and you're the fire EMS liaison.
Yes. Second.
Second motion.
Any questions, for anyone? And call vote.
Aye.
Aye. All in favor?
Yep, that is fine.
All right.
So we have, next on new business is the Miracle Field discussion. So this was something that, came at us pretty recently over the last couple of months. Jason and I were discussing it. there's a group that basically runs these miracle fields throughout the area. I don't think there's any in Chester County. But they were looking to do a site within East Goshen, specifically the ball field over at, off of Goshen Parkway. The one discussion I think I talked to Michelle about it, that, potentially involving the use of the field and things of that nature. They wouldn't have exclusive use over it, but they would probably get priority if they're floating the whole bill, and they really are. If you look at the memo, they would upgrade the entire thing. Jason is actually on here, so I'm gonna let him talk about it because he's much more knowledgeable than I am. So
Yeah.
take it away, Jason.
Sure. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Thanks for being here.
Of course. So yeah, Mill Creek Ball Field. It's right off of Goshen Parkway. It's our only standalone baseball field we have. Until 2019, it had plenty of use. Since that point, it's just been unused. It's been essentially a storage area for public works materials. 3 or 4 months ago, I met with Jim Moore, who's the founder of the Miracle League of Chester County, who's interested in bringing a miracle field to Chester County. Like Derek said, there isn't one, kind of within a 50-mile radius of where we sit. So we had a series of meetings, and kind of we're at the point now where it's looking like this project might have some legs. They have a really strong team behind on the nonprofit side, and the site itself is already a baseball field, so it suits this upgrade. And so I bring it to the board now to kind of get your pulse on it. In terms of funding, this is actually why I'm most optimistic about it, is that he does have a few power players lined up, and that also the Chester County Economic Development Council is behind the project. I spoke with Mary Frances McGarity, and she called out to Harrisburg, and this project is very easily a $750K to $1 million grant project. So something that could realistically happen without the township expending any finances. Our piece would be the land and, marketing and all that kind of good stuff, which is pretty exciting to be able to offer a baseball field that could be used by all populations, special needs children and adults, and used not only by the nonprofit, but also by the township in a myriad of different ways. So, in terms of kind of like what it looks like, obviously the first thing you have to take a look at is engineering. So that's kind of where we're at today. Is the nonprofit is willing to pay for the engineering to understand scope of work, design, put together a cost estimate, so we can actually really look at the project and see if it's viable, talk to the engineer, and then, apply for grant funding November 2025. So what kind of general questions do you have?
Jason, it's Michelle. First of all, I'm gonna say, I think this is a fantastic idea. I see a lot of good possibilities working with the Arc of Chester County, which is right in our backyard as well, over in West Goshen. And we have Devereaux, nearby as well, and handicrafters. So we've got a number of locations where we could probably pull, some teams from. And, do you think that you could actually even work with, J&J, Synthes, and CTDI to see if we can get some corporate partnerships in the future, maybe have a couple of teams get together? And do you think that this would have some legs with them?
Oh yeah, 100%. I spoke with at least 3 or 4 different miracle leagues. They're, in Maryland and then kind of up in the Lehigh Valley area, and they all have big time corporate sponsorships, and then also employee events where they're bringing out large populations of people to do community events. So it's been really heartwarming to see when we have these meetings on site, is that the people involved with the Miracle League are so insanely passionate about delivering baseball and sports to people that otherwise couldn't play it, is that they knock down every door. So when you talk about bringing in corporations for events, bringing in volunteers, they're so enthusiastic about making it happen that it's it's not just Jason trying to make these things happen. They're a true partner. So yeah, I would see all of that happening 100%.
Jason, John, first of all, I like this too. Just out of curiosity, would this field be adequate or ideal for adult softball?
Well, it would depend on the orientation of the field. So you could definitely do adult softball, but the actual the distance down the left and right field line is typically about 125 to 130 feet. So for adult, well, they'd be
Pull that,
on
Jason.
the left and right. So for an able-bodied softball league, could it be used for that? Absolutely. It would just depend on the orientation. In the current configuration, you'd be putting balls down in the creek left and right, and that probably wouldn't be so good. But it would just depend on that.
Okay, okay, well, we can talk about that later. I've seen fields where they moved home plate back. They left room for home plate to move back. Otherwise, sounds good.
Sounds good. There is one consideration from the Miracle League that they wanted to get the board input on, is that nearly all other Miracle fields have lights. And the reason is that they typically only play on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, probably Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And so from April till May, they want to get an after work, program in on a Friday night. So they try and have lights on until 8 o'clock. And in the summer, June, July, maybe until 10 o'clock on weekends. So they didn't necessarily say that's a deal breaker, but, they definitely want to see if it's
It doesn't look like there are many houses nearby.
They're on the other side of the street.
At least that, yeah.
They wouldn't be facing the houses, they'd be facing the other, and the corporate lights are already there anyway.
yeah.
If there's a corporate building there, there'd be lights on 24 hours a
I
day.
was gonna say, there's a CTDI building that's adjacent to this property. And I would think that their parking lights, they don't bother the neighbors on Grand Oak. And Irene. At this point, so.
Yeah.
Hey, Jason.
Yeah.
Have you reached out to the Synthes yet? At all?
I didn't want to do that until after we had this meeting, just to see if the project had legs.
Yeah, okay. Would you have enough parking for this? Cause I don't think there's a lot of parking back there.
That would be part of the project, is there would probably be a little bit more dedicated parking put in.
Yeah. Okay, no, I'm in favor of it. So you're gonna wait to talk to Synthes, because I think maybe they would, help out with it, because that's been vacant for 20 some years. I
Yeah.
think they're piling it. My dad actually went down and mowed it because he got tired of looking at it. So, yeah, just keep us updated. I'm in favor of it.
Okay.
Do we have to make a motion on this, Derek? To support the
Yes, I
project?
would, I would make a motion.
Do we have a
Can I
motion?
ask
So-
Jason one question?
Oh, yeah, any more questions? I'm sorry.
Hey, David. What kind of long-term financial impact would this be for maintenance, do you think, as far as if there's bathrooms or ongoing light, electrical, stuff like that?
So, well, in terms of the lights, I can't answer it in terms of lights. Whichever vendor ends up on the project, I talked to him about, warranties, ongoing maintenance, light bulb, etc., that kind of thing. The field itself is a turf grass system. So similar to like a high-end high school football field. So there's very little maintenance involved with the actual field. So the guys, Mark Miller did an estimate of how much savings there would be for cutting grass. He estimated at about $10,000 a year in savings. So of course that would be offset by the guys would have to go out on Monday morning and empty out the trash cans. So in terms of maintenance impact, I don't see it being dramatic.
Oh, thanks.
I have another question then. Would you be able to utilize this field and rent it out to like Little League and other sports?
Yeah, absolutely. So, my philosophy is we want to use our assets as much as possible with up until the point where it's becoming, degrading the field or degrading the quality of the facility or site. So, I envision the Miracle League of Chester County using the fields on, say, Thursday, Friday, Saturday And then either the township or other little leagues, or maybe a flag football league for kids could come in and utilize for 2 or 3 other days out of the week.
And then how long is the turf field supposed to last? How much use can it take?
So the turf field, let me see, I have that here somewhere.
AstroTurf field, I mean, like not turf.
Yeah. So the turf, the anticipated lifespan is 10 to 13 years. I actually spoke with Miracle League of Lehigh Valley, and they said theirs lasted 18 years.
Okay.
It's looking at, a decade, depending on weather and things like that.
And then how long, I guess this would be like a forever project, I would assume. So when it has to get redone or maintenance, who's gonna be in charge of taking care of that then?
So the
Township or-
yeah, the township will own the property, will own the facility. So, say in year 8, year 9, as we're looking at the end of the lifespan of the surface, it'll be similar to what we're going to do with the playground, is that the surface costs will go on the capital budget. We'll talk with the Miracle League of Chester County about, throwing in money at that point. We'll get additional grant funding to resurface the field.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Jason, I think my input on that too would be if that, I know they're not gonna be the exclusive users, but if they're gonna be the ones that are using it a good chunk of the time, obviously, I think we would approach them at the time and say, hey,
There are some
It's due for
local
maintenance.
business sponsors who wanna
yeah.
show that they're doing business.
Does anybody have any idea what the initial step, which is township engineer quote, what that would cost?
Jace, you got an estimate on the engineering cost out front?
My guess would be about 50 or 60,000.
That much?
Yep. Yeah.
But that would be part of the funding we're talking about, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's their cost.
Yeah.
That's their cost. It's not our cost.
Yeah, we're not fronting.
We're not fronting anything.
Yeah, we're not funding it.
We're not fronting them. I just want to know if there's any costs coming in the future. Once they get it all done, it's in place and everyone's used it, it's 10 years later.
It's gonna be new field, it's gonna be ongoing maintenance costs.
And we can probably fundraise for that or something in future for that, or the East Goshen Township gonna have to.
I think we would try.
Please look at this page where it says next steps. I'm trying to address number 1, township engineer provides quote for services generated by PES. Is that a $40,000 or $50,000?
No, that's just us getting a quote for the specific,
Okay,
whether it's 50, 60 or whatever it is.
okay, can we then, may I make a motion to have us fund that activity initially?
Sure, I think that'll be very, very little money, but yeah,
Okay.
yep.
Well, I so move that.
Second.
Thank you.
Second.
Questions?
Any other questions or comments from Zoom or anyone here in the room?
Thanks, Jason,
Okay.
sounds awesome.
Sounds awesome.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for the work. Thank you.
We'll call the workshop.
Call vote. Can I call vote?
Aye.
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 Aye. All in
Great,
favor?
yeah, all in favor.
Good.
Sounds good. Feels much going on there.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
We already did
We
ours.
already did resolution.
We already-
So, all right, so we already went through consideration of resolution 2025,
Yeah, we
using the
tied,
building.
yeah, we tied that into the schedule fee discussion, so we're
All
doing
right, you're
that.
good with that?
Yep.
You're good with all the
Mhm.
stuff you talked about?
Yep.
You're encourage that. All right,
Man in charge.
any other matters?
I have one. I just want to very quickly say thanks to the Public Works Department. The roads I drove on today were super. Thank you, Mark Miller. Thank you, Public Works guys.
I'll second that comment. They were amazing.
All right, any other matters or public comment? If none, and there's no liaison report. And correspondence reports of interest.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to adjourn.
All right, then,
Second motion.
adjourned. All right.
Thank you, everybody.